You are not a refugee. You're an economic migrant. In the 80s and the 90s, with the African kids on the TV where you see the rib cage and the flies flying around their head, that's a refugee. Fighting age males, balaclavas, raising their middle fingers, drug dealing, machete fighting. We don't want them here. The weather. That's the only thing that stops them. Our armed forces apparently can't be deployed. Our politicians and our monarchy won't do it, so we'll do it. Brothers, sisters, uncles, aunties, imams, they all knew about it as well. Now, Maggie Oliver's already exposed this. Central government knew. MPs knew. You can't unrape someone and you can't undestroy their life. We're ending immigration. We're not taking in refugees. Quite the opposite. We're going to be sending them home. Mass deportations and remigration. The illegal immigrants. Those here on a visa that are claiming welfare. Muslims and Islamists that are here to spread the Islamic caliphate. The Islamists on MI5's terror watch list. You're not welcome here in Britain. When we say we're taking our country back, we mean it. The people that don't deserve to be here anymore, that are trashing our country, are going home.
Where and when did the country go so wrong? I want to say a quick thank you to our sponsors, Gold Seal. I use their products every single day, and now I finally get to work with them. I use their products for anti-inflammatory, reduced anxiety, better sleep, and mental clarity. I'm going to put a link to their website in the description, along with a 10% discount code for you to take advantage of. Go and have a look at their website, see if there's anything in there for you. I hope you enjoy this week's episode, and good health. Nick, welcome back.
Thanks so much, Liam.
Out of all the guests I've had on this show since I started it way back, you're in the top 3 people of requested people to come back on. So since we've done our first podcast, I think it was less than a year ago, I've been inundated with DMs. Can you get Nick Tenconi on for a part 2? So here we are, and thank you for coming back. You've said that your journey has been a rise. What did you mean by that?
So I don't believe that Christian nationalism has been done before in Britain. I'll speak even more frankly. I don't think conservatism has been done before in Britain. I think the abomination of liberalism and libertarianism is what's been peddled by corrupt, crooked, progressive, globalist-inspired politicians. That is the G7 nuclearized force. Because there is an agenda. There's an awful lot of money up for grabs if you bend the knee and if you do as you're told. True conservatism, I don't think, not in my lifetime. Christian nationalism and conservatism, which forms our vision, our policies, our strategy, I don't think that it's been trialled in Britain. The other thing I'd say about the rise that people refer to with regards to myself and UKIP is that it is the underdog story. It is the David and Goliath story, which leaves you with only one option, which happens to be my particular proclivity: action, duty. And with UKIP, it's based on putting our faith first, putting suffering and sacrifice first, acknowledging to the British public that we are at war and that the only thing we need to do now is get off our backsides and go and do what the British people want to see and say what they want to hear, because they've had their hearts ripped out so many times by faux politicians, faux patriotic politicians, liars, deceivers, radical centrists, liberals masquerading as patriots. 2020 was the year that everyone woke up. Everyone talks about when will the British Lion wake up. 2020 was the year that we all woke up. Oh yeah, but 5 years later, we're still not mobilised. 5 years later, we're still not unified. That unification can only happen through a political party. That's how it works. UKIP and the purple tidal wave is that vehicle. Now, I saw that vision a mile off, and in a year, it's exactly what we've done. We've taken the entity that was me previously, currently still, but with Turning Point, and we've gone and acted. We've gone and delivered. We've gone and achieved results, which is to say to the British public that this all ends when we say it ends, and that we can take our country back. And that's what we mean when we say the rise. It's the underdog story of Christian nationalism rising in Britain. That is the solution ideologically.
I have to say, of all the political parties that I've watched and followed and observed, put under the microscope over the years, you're the only political party I've seen that actually puts their cock on the block, to coin a phrase, and actually you sort of actions first, words second. I mean, I watched on your YouTube channel, you went to Calais recently. So I suppose a good question is, why did you go to Calais and what happened while you were there?
So I myself, UKIP, we're the voice for the forgotten people, the most betrayed within society. You can call them the working class. I just call it the backbone of Britain. And I think that they deserve a better class of politician. I think they deserve a better class of warrior, frankly. So a lot of names in the etched in the history books where we revere and we use certain titles and certain compliments, etc. That was then, this is now. And it's an honour to serve the British people. So why would I want to go to northern France and to Calais to inspire men to stand up and to take this country back? Because the only thing that stops illegal migration to Britain, which is as heinous a crime as it gets, is the weather. That's the only thing that stops them. It's not it's not the politicians. It's not anyone in the House of Lords. It's not the monarchy. Our armed forces apparently can't be deployed. So there's no one high up enough in our military to lobby for it, suggest for it. Everyone, apparently there's no command structure. Everyone's under orders. So our politicians and our monarchy won't do it. So we'll do it. And I was able to do it. I was able to go to northern France. I was able to go to Calais because good people stood up and said, I'll go with you. I wanted a team of between 6 and 8. So there's a bit of protection there, bit of security, bit of intel, bit of recon, and some media as well. And it's those good people that stood up, just like I'm trying to recruit 650 superstar candidates who will go on to call brave warrior knights to take the country back by producing a majority, because they stood up and said, I'll go with you. Why did I want to go? Because I'm sick of people who get paid £100,000, £200,000, £300,000 a year, who work for GB News, who go out with security, who has the cameraman with the big camera and the GB mic, and it's pretty much taken care of, and all they've got to do is wander up to migrants. Why are you coming here? Where are you from? Let's see your passport. I'm not asking, I'm telling. You're not welcome here in Britain. You're going to be met with hostility. You are illegally in France. You are not claiming asylum. You might be claiming asylum under some nonsense laws, but you are not an asylum seeker. You are not a refugee. You're an economic migrant from war-torn Islamic countries coming to Britain to get a job in the Deliveroo economy, to provide a service that we don't need, where the company gets away with it, and ultimately trash our culture with your smoking of weed and your third world savagery behavior and your barbaric practices. And 90% of the illegals we know come from Islamic countries. So I am asking the British public to back me, to choose me as their leader, to take the country back. I will in turn work for you. I serve you. So I will go to northern France. I will go to Calais. I will confront the illegals, and I will expose to Britain that they are fighting age males who put on balaclavas, raise their middle fingers at you and say, we're coming to Britain. It's your fault. That's an act of war. That's what I went and exposed.
What kind of reception did you receive when you were there?
Awful. I truly did go, for a lot of people that haven't seen the documentary. We can whack it in the links, I suppose, when we put this out. It's all there for you to see. Whether people believe this or not, it's up to them. With a truly open mind and an open heart, I went to see all the women and children, all the doctors, the nurses, the engineers, the lawyers, etc. Why wouldn't they speak with us? Why wouldn't they converse with us? If by definition of doctor, lawyer, engineer, they can speak English. It's English-speaking world. Of course they can speak English. So I went with an open mind and an open heart. And I'll remind your audience, similar age to me, you remember the adverts in the 80s and the 90s with the African kids on the TV where you see the rib cage and the flies flying around their head?
Oh, yes.
That's a refugee. That's not even a refugee. That's something that is so unbearable to watch. They can't even get up and walk, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about refugees, Armenian Christians, the second Holocaust after the Jewish Holocaust. The most studied is the genociding of Armenian Christians across the world and in Azerbaijan, modern-day Armenia, Azerbaijan. Should we talk about the 330,000 Nigerian Christian children slaughtered by Boko Haram, Islamist Boko Haram? I know what a refugee should look and sound like, and also the men surely stay and fight. So I went with a truly, as all in the documentary, I want to see for myself. We identified the mission parameters that we would intercept a boat and that we would destroy the boat. That was what we were going to do. But you can't do that unless they're sailing. You can't do that unless you find them. You can't do that unless you find the traffickers and you find the migrant camp that gets set up, because they set sail 7, 8 in the morning. It depends on the weather and etc. Failing that, we found the NGOs and the migrant camps. Next point, what sort of reception were we going to receive? Again, GB News, whoever, secret body cam, let's talk. I want to know what's going on in these migrant camps. I want to see for myself fighting age males, putting on balaclavas, hiding their faces with their handlers telling them you can't film here and also cover your faces, everyone. Things like we can't speak English, lots of marijuana and weed smoking as well. People raising their middle fingers with the chain, with the Kalashnikov little symbol on the chain.
Yeah.
And you know when the guys have the teardrops around their eyes, does that mean they're hard? Is that what that means?
You're either part of a gang or you've been to jail is normally what that signifies.
Awesome. So you saw an awful lot of that, and the huge confrontation, which is available in the documentary, a huge amount of confrontation just based on us being there. And where it gets really interesting is that Antifa, sort of your white, liberal, far left in orientation, ideologically at least, with the little push bikes, same as you see in Britain, they're all there guarding the illegals in these camps. So when we rock up, they're there to stop us from coming in, and they're there to shout at us and tell us to F off and that we're not welcome here and that we are racist and we are fascist and all of this kind of thing. And we're thinking, because we don't know what we're walking into in the first one, by the third or fourth one, we have an idea. But by the first one, we know what's what. You're going to have a load of fairly drugged up migrants, fighting age males who are a bit sloth-like. And then it's going to kick off with Antifa because they're guarding them. They work for the NGOs, shock horror. Where does that money come from? I'm sure we'll talk about that. And then they kind of wake up, the migrants. They wake up a little bit and then they want to have a shout. And the most disturbing, I think, was one conversation I had, one interaction I had was they essentially blame us. They blame Britain. It's our fault that they're coming because you and I fired the missiles, didn't we? We did Iraq. We did that war. That was us, wasn't it? We're the ones that destabilized that region. And we don't even believe we believe in just war theory, but we don't believe in interfering with other countries for the likes of what Tony Blair did, for example. So they're coming here with a vendetta and we expose that.
Yeah, that's frightening to think that they've got kind of a revengeful mindset and they're still disgruntled about what happened many, many years ago, which has got nothing to do with our generation. That's frightening. Were there any migrants there at all that you felt some slight empathy for?
Again, went with an open mind and an open heart. I'm more than happy to do that. What if there were kids there? What if there were women and children? I'd help them. That you can't come to Britain illegally, but if you are a refugee and you can claim asylum in a country and that is in the law and it is genuine, up until now, as you know, that is potentially conceivable. Okay. As you know, we're going to close the borders. I made that very clear. And we're not, that's it. We're ending immigration. We're not taking in refugees. Quite the opposite. We're going to be sending them home. We're going to be reversing the monstrosity that has been mass uncontrolled legal immigration and illegal migration as well. So I didn't feel any empathy because I went feeling that was a possibility. And that links to my faith a bit as well. But I was there for the facts. I wanted to know what was really going on. I don't want to hear a report or an interview. I want to see what happens. Imagine if you or I were ever confronted in the street. We wouldn't put balaclavas on and hide our face or become aggressive or confrontational. No. We're professionals. What is it that you want? How can I be of assistance? What's the problem? And if the other person was reasonable, you may or may not engage. But this isn't what happened. As a pack, they were told, hide your faces. We were told, you can't film us or this, the guys in the high-vis and the migrants, etc. And they didn't want us there. And then quite often they scarpered the NGO workers with the high-vis. They'd get in the car and they'd drive off. They said, we'll call the police. You can't be here. They've got a hidden operation going on in the back streets, in disused buildings, and in disused former industrial parks, estates with the factories, etc. And the French know about it and do nothing about it. The British government know we found it with one guide. So everyone knows it's going on, but the British public isn't aware of the fact that it's NGO money. And this is most important. The 80% of the survival and facilitation of the illegals is done by the lefty NGOs. The top and tailing of the deal is done by the Albanian mafia, the traffickers. So the start, getting them there, the journey, the route planning, the NGOs might have something to do with this. But the deployment, where we found the boats and the camps and where they go from the beach into the water and then sail off, that's top and tailed by the Albanian mafia, sure. But the 80% of it, who's feeding them, who's clothing them, who's making them feel welcome, who's settling them down and in and getting them their drugs and giving them maps or whatever, who's facilitating this? These migrants are there for weeks, maybe more. You can't just sail each time every day. It doesn't work like that. Who is housing them and putting them up? Lefty NGOs, NGOs with an awful lot of funding. Any empathy I had going out there, open mind, open heart, was gone within minutes of our first seconds of our first encounter at the first migrant camp.
It's a very fair and honest response, one that you can't really argue. If you went there with love in your heart, with the potential mindset of feeling some empathy for some of them, should you feel they was in need of saving, worthy of our hospitality, but then you got there and all you saw or all you was greeted with is hostility, and did you witness any kind of criminality?
I mean,
other than the drug smoking.
Yeah, the weapon of choice seemed to be marijuana. So, but I don't know whether that's illegal in France or that area of France. I don't know, but I would put that under criminality. I didn't see any other criminality means criminality. I didn't see it. But what I would say is this: from start to finish, in what was forecasted to be a 72-hour operation recon-wise for phase one, what I did see was fighting-age males who have made a journey of approximately 2,500 miles to France, which is a safe country, to begin their voyage to Britain, to enter Britain illegally. So we're talking about illegal immigrants, illegally in France, illegally invading Britain. That's as criminal as it gets. That is the subversion of our culture and of our faith. That puts the most vulnerable within society in Britain, aka women and children, at incredible risk. House prices go through the roof. Jobs are taken. And the subversion of our culture via the Deliveroo economy and knife-wielding maniacs and machete fighting and drug dealing and law breaking via mafias and tribes that get formed once in Britain. We lose, the taxpayer, the British public. What our ancestors fought for is trash. Their memory and what they did is completely undermined. It is utterly, utterly unacceptable, and it is totally devastating. These people are not refugees. They are fighting-age males, and they are coming to us by design.
The whole thing is kind of gift-wrapped in criminality, isn't it? How did the French perceive the illegals?
Well, what I found quite interesting is that at one point, whilst you're shouting back and forth with these far-left extremists, which is nauseating, you find yourself asking, which I think I did, if memory serves, Migrant Camp 3, why don't they stay here? If you love them so much, if you care for them so much, why don't they stay here? Now, the problem is that you're not always going to get an answer when you're now not combat, but essentially shouting at street level. That's not how anyone wants to do it. It's not how we want to do it as professional activists specialising in smart activism. But unfortunately, it's all you've got. And sometimes they do actually answer the question. And I think we've got it several times. I'd have to watch the documentary back, but I do think we have it. We don't want them here. They want to go to Britain. They don't want to be here. So that's how I would like to respond to that question. That's actually on film. The first migrant camp was probably the most intense. The pack was definitely forming behind the white liberal women, the lefty women who were guarding them. Oh, yeah. The pack was definitely forming. They were getting very, very upset with us being there, the fighting age male pack. And we were about 50 yards from the gate that way to exit. So that was hanging their time. It's on. We got it. We got the audio. They don't want to be here. They want to be in Britain. But if you're a refugee, go back to what I said about those adverts in the 80s and the 90s. Do you not take what you're given? Do you not take a hot meal and the arm around the shoulder and a bed for the night? So France, I don't like France. I want Britain. It's by design. The reason why I wanted to go to Calais and the reason why this topic is so important is because everyone talks initially about illegal immigration, outrage. Then everyone realised, hang on a minute, it's actually uncontrolled legal mass migration, which no one voted for, that's the problem. And that's in the last couple of years. And that's really good because they're right. But then it's gone full circle. If you've come here legally, we know who you are. And yeah, you're going home depending on whether you fit the criteria or not, true. But you've come here legally and those are our laws. But we've got to get into power to change that. But it's still illegal immigration whereby we don't know who these people are, we don't know where they've come from, and we don't know why they're coming to Britain. There's already been enough blood spilt in Britain as a result of illegals coming in. We don't know how many. The forecast is 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 million. I don't think anyone's saying that maybe illegals could be up to 10 million in Britain. That's more part of a remigration program we've got. But up to 5 million illegal invaders? Come on. We've got to get that conversation back on the table. Illegal immigration is utterly, utterly unacceptable, and we mustn't tolerate it.
Well, I wholeheartedly agree. Talk to me about your Northern France operation.
The whole point of going out was to go, first time was to go back out a second time and a third time. And again, if it's the will of the British people, we have a donation link. We have a fundraising campaign. We want to go back out there and we want to achieve our initial objective, which was to stop a boat. Now, in order to do that, we do need intelligence. We do need people. We do need good men to stand up. You can apply on our website. You obviously put your name forward. You get vetted. We make sure that everything smells right, and then you're joining the team to come back out there. So how much money we raise and how many men put their name forward to come dictates what the mission will look like. But the phase 1 that I mentioned, the 72-hour recon, phase 1 was for phase 2, which is to go back out there and to confront the traffickers on the beach when they're trying to deploy the boats. You see, this is why I labour on about people that potentially have gone to northern France. They have potentially gone to Calais and they do the interviews. It's also called Vox Pops as well. You're just basically interviewing. For what? To achieve what? I'm done with the politicians who don't have a backbone and a spine. I can't stand it. But the British people deserve a better class of politician. They deserve a soldier as much as they do a politician. It's the least that me and the team can do is to go out there and lead the charge and stop a boat. See, here's the thing, and this is where it gets really interesting for me. Whenever I go and do something with my incredibly brave and supportive team behind me, whenever I go and do something, I notice the next day that it's parroted or copycatted online somewhere because I know who to look out for, and I know that they haven't done it before. They haven't said it, thought of it, or done it before. Now, I looked for confirmation about this, but as you know, I was out in Calais I want to say it was a month ago. As soon as we were back, within a week of that, the French police had waded out waist high with the batons and the shields to intercept the boat. So I asked around, has this ever happened before? You might even be able to tell me, and I'd like people to comment on the video here as well. I don't know. But apparently the French police haven't done that before. So a week after we left, and all the NGOs tagged in their posts on social media, they tagged law enforcement in France and the government asking for me to be arrested and dealt with. So it went very viral in France. I hope it did in Britain as well. But they obviously had a tantrum online for the French, which was all part of our plan. They're just silly people. Great. And then within a week, you've got the French police wading out hip height, which is completely different from doing anything at street level, with the shields and the batons. Now, let's just say that's a coincidence. Let's just say that that's random. I don't think it is. I think that pressure and activism from a political party, I think it works. I think it inspires. I think it motivates. I think it's what shifts the dial. So we're going back out, and we're going back out to confront the traffickers, and we will be asking them, what the fuck do you think you're doing? Because you're not passing.
Is there any military presence in the channel at all?
No.
Why do you think that is?
So my understanding is there's no military presence in the channel. My understanding is that if you and I were to go home now and put on the TV about this time of day, there'd be an RNLI donate now functionality. So I could spit. So they're advertising to donate so that they can go out and just pick people up and bring them back. It's a complete joke. So then we go, okay, fine. What about the British military? What about the Navy? Why aren't they? So let's ask ourselves that question. Let's ask the patriots that question. It's because the British government are in on it. Now, there's two things I'd say at this point. One, the journey that the illegals are making, each ticket is about 1,500 quid. So if you do the math, when this started in earnest, circa 2018, the Albanian mafia and the powers that be have netted 150 million from ticket sales. That's serious money. That's serious money. That's not just mafia. That's next level stuff. Do you think the government doesn't want a piece of that? Do we think the French government doesn't want a piece? Can't be bothered. There's this thing called Interpol. You and I can get found for anything, anywhere, anytime, but they can't find the smugglers and the traffickers. It's nonsense. It's rubbish. The British government are complicit in the subversion of our culture, the destruction of our culture, our faith, and the replacement of British native people. Also by probably one of the most heinous crimes, which is a psyop, which is that we know, but you don't know, because there's always good people within the barrel of illegal and rapists and murderers and pedophiles and horrible people. You've also got lots of good people as well, haven't you? They're not all bad people. Bottom line, if you've got 1,000 apples in the barrel and 500 are rotten and 500 are great, and you were blindfolded and you were asked to put your hand in, pick it and eat it, you probably wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I think there's far too many people out there that are tricked into thinking that they're fighting the good fight, and really they've been hoodwinked, like you say, the psyop, and that's where you get sort of good people arguing against each other. Like, you're both good people, but one's misinformed. One's brainwashed, the other one isn't. The other one's got their eyes and ears wide open. And it's very hard to have that argument if you're seeing the world through two completely different lenses. It's a question for another day. But, how do we overcome that hurdle? But let me move on. We obviously know that Keir Starmer isn't going to smash the gangs. Fact. Reform. How have they lived up to your expectations?
Reform have lived up to my expectations exactly as I thought that they would do, both before Nigel's announcement, which was pretty much to the hour a year ago, when it was Tice and Habib in terms of leadership and deputy, and then indeed after Nigel's, I'm gonna throw my hat into the ring and, right, let's all have a Nigel party and let's all get behind the Nigel cult and the Nigel fan club. I really don't understand what's so enigmatic. That's not personal against Nigel. I've met him. I don't have anything personal against him. I just don't get what's so enigmatic about him. But I guess that's how cults operate, right? No one really knows. It's just sorcery and trickery. I don't really know. So reform, I'm exhausted with reform. I think that we're at war. Anyone flip-flopping or anyone making some really bad employment decisions, including not just hiring but firing, appointments, shall we say. Anyone who's getting that wrong during war at leadership, that's unacceptable. At leadership level, that's unacceptable. Any flip-flopping when you're at war, and we're talking the game here is politics, I think that's unacceptable. I think throwing patriots under the bus is unacceptable. I think having a leader when we're at war and all anyone cares about is mass deportations and remigration on a very well-known podcast, not as great as you, but a very well-known podcast.
I should jolly well hope not.
Nowhere near. It's an open goal and says no to mass deportations. Why? What's the reason? Because it's not possible. I'm asking the British public, does your politician of choice, does your party of choice, do they have the vision, and does the leader have the balls? Please make an informed decision based on those two things. Yes, you have missions and you have manifesto, you have policies, But to save Britain, we need to begin mass deportations and remigration. And in my opinion, we need to reinstate Christianity back into the heart of government. This is the only way we get justice for the girls, and it's the only way we get justice for the British people. So I'm asking the Patriots, please, hurry up. We have no time left. New parties forming all the time, which is really quite a fun topic. Lots of different leaders, everyone coming. Reform had their shot in 2020. That was their rise, 21, 22, 23. They've had their shot. We have no time left for anything new, think tank or otherwise. On the subject of reform, Patriots, ask yourselves the question, does that leader have the vision and do they have the balls? And if the answer is no and no or no and yes, if it's not two yeses, it's time to reevaluate. It's time to come home to UKIP.
I know back office, admin, infrastructure, it's all very important, manifestos, but that's the question I ask myself. Would I follow that man into war, and has he got the balls? That is like the first question. All the other stuff, you can put the pieces together with the right team. Have you got the actual courage to lead this country to become successful again, to become safe again? Where do you see UKIP being in the next 5 years?
So the first question, because I don't think I've been asked that question yet. Absolutely. Do I have the courage? Do I have the testicular fortitude? Absolutely, I do. But that's not vain and pomp and arrogance. I will ask each individual patriot to ask themselves, has your mettle been tested in life? It's called holding the mirror up to your face. It's very hard to do. Has your mettle been tested? The ultimate test of bravery and courage. Yeah, we're surrounded by enemies and people, but we both know, you and I both know, the enemy's between the ears. Stay out of your mind. It's like a bad neighborhood. We both know what positive mental attitude looks like and overcoming trauma and fear. Has your mettle been tested? I'm telling the Patriots now, I know me very well and I know how hard I've worked. I know I'm not going to back down from a fight. And I don't mean where the sensible one where you know to stop and walk away. I mean the political fight. I mean the fight to save Britain. So what is the fight to save Britain? The fight to save Britain is to begin mass deportations and remigration of those who do not belong in Britain. There is one solution, and to end the infighting and the fracturing and the creation of new parties and the nonsense, and going back to the other point about the hysteria and the confusion that is constantly put upon patriots and the right. Do we think this is by chance? Is there a reason why the left are so very clear? Human rights cause, jump on it. Anything to do with Palestine, jump on it. Anything to do with homosexuality, jump on it. Anything to do with human rights, kill your baby up until birth, jump on it. Their ideology all ends up at a point of collaboration, regardless of how demonic. Britain can be saved. It can be saved by mass deportations and remigration. The solution is politics. The vehicle is UKIP. Return a majority. Put me in power. We take our country back.
And is that the vision? In 5 years, you can see us having the country back. And what does having your country back even mean?
So in 5 years' time, the goal, the blue sky, if God permits it, is to return a majority in a nuclearised G7 country. Again, first past the post system for the Patriots. We will have to get our heads around this very quickly. We spent a year doing this a lot and it's worked well. But for those still not in the know, in a first past the post system, you have to return a majority. So if you put your heart and soul into a think tank, a lobby group or a pressure movement, best of luck with that one. If that doesn't result in returning a majority, you've wasted your time, effort, energy and money. We're taking our country back. What does that mean? It means returning a majority. Do I think that's going to happen? In 5 years' time, it's simple. If the British public wants their country back, if the British public is willing to choose me as their leader, one party, one vision, then I swear on everything that's holy, we will take our country back. We will reinstate Christianity back into the heart of government. We will begin mass deportations and remigration, and we will deliver justice for the girls and for the British public as well. And then there's other things in the policy areas which I find very interesting, like remilitarizing Britain, reindustrializing Britain, for example. This is really exciting stuff to me. Let's start making things again. Let's start getting jobs back on the table again for hardworking people. Those dynamics create communities. The destruction of industry is the destruction of community. And the North has been perhaps the most broken and destroyed by the global elite in Westminster, both by the grooming gang scandal and also by the deindustrialisation of Britain. They go hand in hand. All roads lead to the same space. What does victory look like? Returning a majority. What does saving Britain look like? Mass deportations, remigration, justice for the girls, and justice for the British people.
A lot of people use these apocalyptic terms and phrases and buzzwords. Take our country back, on the battlefield, we're going to war. But you add context to those power phrases, and you give a very good backstory, a good vision. You explain what you mean. You're not just trying to catch people's attention with the buzzwords. When you're asked, no one can judge you on your testicular fortitude. Like, no one. My job is to be as on the fence as I can be. I'm obviously right of centre. I mean, of course, I've got nothing in common with people on the left. I think they're absolutely stark raving mad. But it's irrefutable that you put your money where your mouth is, you go for it, and when you come out with something what some would consider outlandish, you back it up. You bring the receipts with you, and I can only tip my hat to you. So how are UKIP going to stay relevant? We're at war.
How do you stay relevant politically in war? You act. It's not act first, think later. All the team does is think. All we do is communicate and apply strategy and check where we are on the roadmap and the vision. So when we are deployed, we've already done the mathematics. So staying relevant during war means action based on duty, but we already have that set. So again, for the Patriots, no flip-flopping, no weakness, no diplomacy, no mercy, no surrender. This is what we're going to do. If it is your will, you need to back it. No flip-flopping, no nonsense, and ideologically sound as well. Actual conservatism, actual Christian nationalism, which is different when we talk about conservatism. We put culture first and economy second. It's different from talking about Thatcherite economics. It's different from libertarianism and individualism. Again, I'll answer specifically with regards to relevance. But again, it's very kind of you to say what you just said. What I know to be true before returning majorities and winning and victory and celebration and thanking God, I know the truth is that the backbone of this nation, the British working class, the patriotic class, the men who fight for this country, that build this country, I know that there is an enormous psyop going on which says that your leader must be 65 years old and must be a multi-millionaire and must look a certain way and must speak a certain way. I know it's true. David Cameron and Tony Blair broke the mould slightly, but they're both utterly useless and did some incredibly awful things whilst in power. Well, awful/useless. But I truly think that Patriots deserve to hear that. It doesn't have to be your old boys network, high net worth, multi-millionaire. I truly do believe you and me, we can take the country back. I don't think we have to rely on the elite, upper or middle class or the super rich or the super wealthy. I think it's a psyop. Does that make sense? They look and talk and act a certain way.
Yeah, I hear. I love the sound of that. I can think of the headline now. Podcast host takes back country.
Two big bull geezers do the business.
I like that. And how are you going to tap into the younger vote? Because I think the younger generation, I think they're lost. I don't think they even realise they're lost. I don't think they've got any idea of the damage illegal migration is causing to the country. I don't think they've got enough responsibility nowadays. And I think that they think that it's everyone's country and they've sort of lost their sense of identity. You may disagree or not. I'm just sort of thinking out loud. But how are you going to get into the hearts of the young?
Of course. Tip of everyone's tongue, how are you going to win the youth? So how are we going to stay relevant? We're going to do the do. Action, leadership, bravery, balls. We're going to go and do. It's not me being avoidant of the question. It's me, we're going to wake the people up. And I know how to do that, and it's working. Similar question, but specifically with the youth. Everyone will say, almost like you have to, well, TikTok notoriety, right? They're not really on Instagram. The kids of today, where we had Insta, we were much older though, if you do the math, they've got TikTok. I'm not sure I believe in any particular social media platform for the youth. The key thing is being at street level to understand youth behaviour. That's the key thing. For example, I decided to go to the beach the other night. It's hot. Everyone's losing their minds inside. 10,000 degrees. So I thought I'd go and walk along the beach. I'd go to a beach. I'd walk along the beach. And you've got yobs, loads of marijuana smoking. And I noticed that there was a real threat of hostility in the air. There was a real threat in the air.
Wasn't how you pictured going to the beach years ago.
I suppose doing it in the street and out in open air is pretty rude and disrespectful.
It's very blasé. But that's where we're at.
What makes us think that the youth can be saved? What makes us think they want to be saved? Now, I say that as well for the boomers that are left here still, the boomer conservatives as well, because we're talking about Christian nationalism. We're talking about actual conservatism. We're not talking about the libertarian nonsense and the individualism. We're talking about going back to the collective, the whole. So it's not one demographic. We don't have time for that. There's no more grains of sand in the hourglass. We don't have time for that. What we are doing is we're saying to Britain, 46.2% of this country identify as Christian, 30 to 35 million, 26 million Protestants, 4 million Catholics. Chuck the Orthodox in as well. And what we're saying is a lot of people will talk about swing votes and who does and doesn't vote. You hear endlessly about numbers and stats. You talk about the patriotic vote as well. We're going after the Christian pound. We're going after the Christian bloc vote, and we are doing everything behind the scenes whilst new movements pop up and waste everyone's time and more think tanks and more pressure. When people say, what about the youth? We know there's a massive Christian revival going on in Britain at the moment. And the way to get the heart and mind, the way to get to the voter, if you're Christian and share the Christian worldview, is through our faith. Do we have enough time? Grains of sand in the hourglass? We'll see. But I'm not neglecting the elderly and favouring the youth. I think the youth have got a really tough time of it at the moment. But like you said, the culture is really quite threatening and bizarre now. And it's very, they're very aggressive. And that's all pop culture related, etc. Whereas we had that growing up, but we didn't turn out like that. I mean, I don't know how to describe it. So no one demographic's getting forgotten about. We're going to do what we do at street level when we campaign politically around the candidate, and we're going to do what we do on social media. We're going to lead the charge, and we're going to be asking the patriotic, faithful youth, the Christian youth, to back UKIP, because we're going to reinstate Christianity back into the heart of government. Now, I've done the math on this, and I know that it works. Does it work for every demographic and every age group? No one knows. It's a good question, but there's a truthful answer behind it. We've got no time left. So you can only reach so many people. And certain people can't be saved either, can they? We're not going after we're not going after the communist vote after all.
Yeah, true story. Some people can't be saved.
Yeah, and it's not our job to do that either, because there are a lot of people who do want to be saved who are backing us, and we're fighting for the British public, you know?
The Christian revival is a very interesting thing. I mean, I'm not religious, but my son's 18 and he's took an interest in Christianity. And irrespective of the fact that I don't believe in any religion, I'm pleased that he's taken an interest in Christianity, and I hope he sticks with it and he'll get my full support. So what's the primary vision for UKIP under your leadership?
The primary vision can only be one thing: mass deportations and remigration of those who do not belong in Britain. So we're talking about the foreign nationals in our jail. We're talking about the illegal immigrants. We're talking about those here on a visa that are claiming welfare. We're talking about the Islamists on MI5's terror watch list. We're talking about the Muslims and Islamists that are here to spread the Islamic caliphate and to take over Britain as per Arab colonialism, Arab supremacy. We're talking about those unintegrated migrant communities who stay in their own little tribes, who refuse to learn English, and who are here to subvert our culture and our faith. Can't be more reasonable, can't be fairer. If you're not here to play ball in Britain and you have an insidious, be it far left, extremist agenda or Islamist agenda, why are you here? No one voted for mass uncontrolled legal migration. Why are you here? No one voted for illegal migration. Why are you here? Illegal migration is also suicidal. It's nonsense. So the only thing relevant mission-wise for the soundbite is mass deportations, remigration, and then very shortly after that is to reinstate Christianity back into the heart of government. But as you know, and it's very important, the Patriots are made aware again, UKIP has 6 main missions. Now, outside of the 2 that I've just mentioned, the other 4 essentially say the same thing, but regards our youth. We need to educate on the problems of Marxism, far left extremism, communism. We need to educate on the problems of far left totalitarian propaganda, what it looks like, what it sounds like. We need to educate on the problems of liberalism and godlessness, and then things like rejecting corporatism, rejecting the lobbying that goes on and the backhanders that go on within Westminster when the Patriots look around our country and go, what, why, how, where, when? It's probably because there's some sort of corruption at the centre, which is why we've got to take the centre back. So the 6 missions are comprehensive. But for the purposes of answering the question, the vision is to begin mass deportations and remigration of those people who do not belong in Britain. We're going to fill the sky with planes, if memory serves, each plane 360 passengers. And it's difficult to say because we'll be using the boats as well, but between 5 and 10 flights a day, and then you do the math from there. And it's somewhere it lands at 5 million. But again, we don't know how many. We know about the illegals, 100,000, 8 million quid a day, 2 billion quid a year. We pay for that. Out of work migrants, 21 billion a year. And I think that it's only fair for your audience as well. There'll be people who are very nervous about this sort of operation. The forecast amongst those in thought leadership with regards to conducting such a plan in Britain for detentions, deportation and remigration is 150,000 soldiers to the cost of 50 billion. Now that's a train of thought, and both numbers move up and down slightly depending. So I know people are going to be nervous when I say this, and I don't want them to be. If we want our country back at this point, it has to be, going back to your question, what do we mean when we say take it back? It means exactly, as you rightly said, the policies are sound, the vision is sound, the ideology is sound. I'm not lying, I'm not deceiving, I mean what I say. But in terms of practical application, when we say we're taking our country back, we mean it. The people that don't deserve to be here anymore, that are trashing our country, are going home.
Solid answer. And here's another question for you. So there's going to be a new grooming gang inquiry. The pressure of the people has forced Starmer's hand to do that. That's not off his own back. That's for sure. We're not silly. However, there is going to be a grooming gang inquiry. I'm delighted with that. But from your point of view, what needs to happen in that inquiry?
So my understanding is that there have been the left, the people that oppose, there's people that oppose grooming gang inquiries. There's people that they oppose that.
And unless you're complicit, there should be no reason to object.
Disgusting. So there's a lobby that opposes this. So my understanding is, let's give it 5 seconds of airtime. My understanding is that there have been many different inquiries. There have been many different inquiries into the grooming gang.
Never thorough.
Right. So here's where I come in. My understanding is that there have been loads, but they've not been thorough. Another word would be complete. Another word would be full. Another word would be fair. The accusation, which is as egregious as it gets, is that 90% of this, the grooming gang scandal, was conducted by Pakistani Muslim men who viewed the girls as kuffar, unwashed, unclean, fair game, they deserved it, we'll do it. And then there's a kicker piece of information. The wives, brothers, sisters, uncles, aunties, imams, they all knew about it as well. That's the accusation. That's the allegation. So any inquiry, past, future, 100 of them, going back to that, it needs to be fair, it needs to be full, it needs to be comprehensive. The accusation is the aforementioned. If the result is that, if that allegation is true, then we have proven the religious bigotry, racism, ethno-nationalism, xenophobia, and evil of both their religious text, their religious lifestyle, and of the barbarism and the savagery. Now, if it's not true, then it's a different outcome. We can all agree it was full, comprehensive, Maybe it all happened by accident. Who knows? But if it is something that was that way inclined, based on that kind of racism, that kind of bigotry, that's the allegation. This inquiry has to return that result. Because I understand lots of inquiries have been and gone. The establishment are in no way motivated to return that result. I'm talking hypothetically here.
Mm-hmm.
The establishment are not motivated because then it shows that they were complicit, along with the wives and the brothers and the sisters and the families and the uncles and the imams and the MPs and the councillors. It shows that the central government, the Maggie Olivers already exposed this, central government knew, MPs knew. The MPs have come forward saying they knew. But remember, keep your mouth shut for the sake of diversity was the quote that went out, which Naz Shah liked and then retweeted, which we're not allowed to talk about because she sues people for saying facts. That tweet went out, she liked it and she retweeted it. So what motivation does the establishment have for this full and comprehensive and fair inquiry we're talking about? What motivation does it have? Is it going to once again fail and let us down and break our hearts even further? Again, more demoralisation. No, we can both agree on that, right? This inquiry has to be the whole truth and nothing but the truth, right?
Oh, so help us God, and I don't even believe in him.
The lot. It has to be everything.
And there's got to be people held to actual account, jail time.
And the noose as well. But again, mass deportations and remigration. And then justice for the girls is reparations. So you pick a number. You can't unrape someone and you can't undestroy their life. Number one way to traumatise someone is to sexually abuse them when they're an infant, when they're a minor. Very little coming back from that. So reparations is all you can do. And hopefully the number's big enough and we look after them for the rest of our lives as a society. So let's hope this inquiry actually addresses the allegation, which is the point I'm trying to make. It addresses the allegation, which is one of the most egregious things I've ever heard. The religious bigotry, racism, xenophobia, and ethno-nationalism and supremacy of a certain type of religion allowed them the mindset, the justification to commit the most awful, heinous of crimes. That's the allegation. That's what we need an answer to.
Yeah, dark. I mean, where and when did the country go so wrong?
When being a beta male became fashionable. When women becoming masculine became trendy. When the state decided to put materialistic atheism, liberalism, and individualism as the state's religion. When man turned his back on God. When man stopped caring about political ideology and stopped caring about politics and said, do you know what? I'm going to leave the future of this country and my fate and the future of my children's fate to middle-class politicians. Those bullet points pretty much, outside of talking about the tech rev and the Enlightenment period and the Renaissance period and the hippie period and the natural order of things and progressivism, outside of talking about issues to do with modernity, that's on the hit list with regards to when, why and how we started to fall apart, which is why man must become man again, which is why man must believe in man again, which is why we must bring political ideology and indeed politics, indeed party politics and religion back to the table, which is why you are, as a man, you are supposed to be a monster, but you are in control of that training. You are in control of that delivery. You are in control of the lethal weapon that you have chosen to become. That's your job, because it's our job to be vigilant and it's our job to destroy evil, not to make peace with it. And somewhere along the line, man decided to make peace with evil. And now we've lost the respect of women, of our families, and we've lost the country. And there were brave men that spilt blood to protect us. And I genuinely quake with rage at that point, because it's not too late. It's not too late to get it back. There are good men still fighting, still standing up. Yourself, Tommy, I'm surrounded by them. Good men. But you can't have 100, 200, you need hundreds of thousands.
Yeah. If only people really knew the magnitude of or the problems that come with things being too soft and too easy. Down the road, it becomes so much harder. It's heartbreaking. What are your main bones of contention within British politics?
Degeneracy within government, deviance within government, within politics, within our uni party, deviance, degeneracy, greed, godlessness, corruption, incompetence. Look at what happened a week and a half ago on the Tuesday night in Parliament with the abortion bill. Again, you're a self-confessed secular atheist. The suggestion is you should be able to kill babies up until birth. The secular community should be outraged. Whether you're God-fearing or not, you don't believe life starts at conception. You believe it starts further on down the line or something like that?
I'm yet to speak to anyone that isn't completely outraged by that.
Just outrage, right? And rightly so as well.
And why?
Again, so many heartbreaking, absolutely. And so you've got assisted suicide, state-sponsored suicide, which by definition, of course, again, why? It's going to, so many people are going to want to off themselves. Again, going back to all the chats we've had about the downfall and collapse of society, state-sponsored or easy way out. Remember, it's choice. This is what happens. Remember, it's choice. It's freedom. Like you say, good times create weak men. We all know that saying's gone viral for the last 5-6 years. It's very important. But you know what? It's liberalism. You see, the thing about liberalism, the thing about libertarianism is it's all about the individual. It's all about the individual's choice and the individual's rights. So from the Second World War, I'd like all the patriots to have a little think about what I'm about to say. How are we getting on with that? How's that worked out for everyone? Because a lot of people will say, life's great, it's brilliant, never been more wealthy, never been richer, never had more choice, never had more freedom. I don't know what they're smoking, but again, that would be their individual worldview, would it not, by definition? Now let's take the actual worldview. Let's take the blinkers off. I think we can both agree that somewhere along the track, we took a very sharp wrong turn in the wrong direction. And going back to that list, it was when man turned his back on his politics, his political ideology, and his faith.
What's the solution?
We have no time left. We are out of time. We have to act now. The solution is politics. It is political. That means joining UKIP. And because lots of people, again, still have never been a member of a political party, which is absolutely fine. I know what that feels like. I've dipped in and out of it my whole life, depending on how annoyed I was with things. But again, at the time, I was very individualistic. It means joining UKIP. So you go to ukip.org and you join. So I'll talk you through the actual practical application of this. Saving the country in 30 seconds, I can do this. You go to ukip.org and you join. Then you get a nice little letter from me and a card, and you've got a membership number. Then you go back on the website and you apply to become a candidate, and you put your name forward to become a candidate, and you get vetted. Once you're vetted and you've passed through vetting, you become a PPC, which is a prospective parliamentary candidate. That could be you, me, anyone. And then you become a local champion in your constituency. So you live in a constituency, I live in a constituency, and that constituency has 30,000, 50,000, 80,000, 100,000 people. And you form WhatsApp groups and Facebook groups, and you add people into it based on the party of your choosing's branding and optics, and missions, and manifesto, and policies, because all that's given to you. Then you attend training and development seminars with me, along with 649 other people throughout the country on a consistent basis for the next 3.5 years, where I train you to become a world-class professional activist who specializes in smart activism, so that you learn the political world, you learn how to win a majority in your constituency, and then in 5 years' time, if we have enough purple wins, you get to form what's called a government because you have a majority. That was a little longer than 45 seconds.
Good answer.
That's the solution. And patriots are going to be hearing me do this for the next 3.5 years. It literally ends if 100,000 men followed that 2-minute process tonight, because they're backing, like we said earlier on, you've got to back the missions, and you've got to back the vision, and you've got to back the leader. So it doesn't take long, by looking at my socials, our missions, our policies, it doesn't take long to go, that's it. That's it. It's been a year, I think. No one's criticised what we've put on paper. Everyone loves it. So if 100,000 men tomorrow went, well, I'm in for that, I'll do it. Men have hobbies, do they not? Men spend time traveling to their hobbies, do they not? Why can't politics become their hobby? Why can't political ideology become their hobby? If there's no sacrifice, we're not taking our country back. If there was 10 of us in this room right now and we all went, right, we're now going to get really political, do a bit of political ideology, throw that, maybe even a bit of faith as well. And we're all going to do this and we're going to take our country back. And we're going to sacrifice this and we're going to use that time to go and do this to take the country back. That's why we say it all ends when we say it ends. However, if you'll permit me, there is a caveat to this. We will not win. If the British people do not want their country back, we will not win. If the British people aren't willing to fight for it, we will not win. That's the caveat. If they want it back and they back me as their leader, we will save the country. But if they don't want it back and if they don't want to save Britain, whether that's ignorance, apathy, laziness, gluttony, dealer's choice, doesn't matter. A lot of people think that it's all over. So the Islamic Caliphate in Britain will win. Or they want to leave it to chance, for example. You're certainly not someone who's willing to leave it to chance. I'm not. Plus also, we should fight. I think we're judged based on action and words as well. You know, how we pray, but our action as well. So there's one final bit I'd like to tack on. The British public and the patriotic movement deserve an explanation with regards to all the pressure groups, movements, think tanks, and lobby groups out there as patriots get more and more, take me up indeed on my suggestion, and become more and more involved in politics and political ideology. They will find themselves engulfed in adverts and promotion to subscribe to, donate to, be part of movements, pressure groups, think tanks, lobby groups. I'm asking the patriots, tell me when in the last 100 years we on the right had a political win. Now that's not for now, because I'm building up to something. In the last 100 years, would you have said that the order in which we are going, some people call it New World Order, would you argue that it's far left and communist in orientation and fascist, left-wing extremism, or far right? What does everyone think? Is it more like communism? Is it more like Nazism? Where are we headed? You see, where I come in is that for the last 100 or so years, the natural order of things has been progressivism. It's been modernity. So the abolition of slavery, we can all agree with that, right? That wasn't a right-wing victory. That wasn't a conservative victory. That was a victory for humans, for people. The suffragette movement, arguably that was feminism. That's a left-wing result. But you could argue on the conservative right that we endorse and we agree with them. Where's the conservative or Christian nationalist win been for the last 100 years? The last 100 years is in favour of what's trending and popular with regards to progressivism. Anything that's progressive, to the point now where you've got the radical trans lobby and aborting babies up until birth, and illegal immigration isn't illegal. They're poor refugees and they need to be loved and looked after with their marijuana smoking Islamist ways. So what I'm saying to people is this: pressure, activism, think tanks, lobbying, movements. On the right, we are now engulfed in all of those things, but the only saviour, the only solution is a political party returning a majority in a general election. I've made that very clear, and I'm asking the patriots to think very, very clearly and hard about what I've just said. All of this is supposed to result in some kind of win. Where's that win been over the last 100 years? I'm asking people to find it. I know what people are going to say. They'll go Brexit. It's not a win.
It's not complete.
It's not a win because it's not complete. I'm asking everyone, you included, look at the last 100 years. The Christian nationalist, conservative, right-wing lobby group, what have we won? Tens of billions and billions, time, effort, energy, you name it. The only way we can take our country back is through a political party returning a majority like Boris did under the Conservatives, like Keir has done under Labour. It is a lazy, weak argument to say that it can be done through these methods and techniques. It is wrong. It is a lie. The hard yards have to be put in, and they've got to be put in behind a political party. That is how you save Britain.
Well, I mean, for me, it's for the audience to decide where they go, who they put their faith and belief into. I mean, felt like I've been politically homeless for a long, long time. But what people have to admire about you, and it's not just because you're sat there, or maybe it is because you've been sat there twice. Now, I've put my invitations out to a plethora of politicians and professional people. I would love Farage or Tice or Starmer or anyone of that ilk to be sat opposite me. Our channel across the board reaches north of 25 million people a month. It's not like it's a Mickey Mouse platform, and the majority of my support is the patriots of Britain, the working class, the forgotten people, the backbone, the actual spine of the country, in my opinion, and I love them for that, and this is me giving back to them. So there's no reason why somebody wouldn't want to come on this podcast, have a fair chat. Rarely do I strongly challenge people. I ask the questions, I give them free space to be exactly who they are. Then it lets my audience decide from an unbiased perspective. Okay, I like that person. I believe in their principles. I'm going to get behind them. And this is the second time you've taken time out of your day, your life, which is very, very busy. I know it's stressful doing what you do. And you've took the time to sit there, present yourself, be very honest, not swerve any question at all, and really present yourself well. So for me, I can only tip my hat. And before we wrap this up, have you got a final message to the masses?
I think I've done enough in the last year to convince people that UKIP is a credible force and that I am a very credible leader by demonstration, which is what we've done. I'm asking the British public, I'm asking the patriots, I'm asking the Christian lobby group in the UK, I'm asking them to form, I'm asking them to merge, I'm asking them to join UKIP and to put their name forward to stand as a candidate. Now, do you notice in that 15-second sales pitch, do you notice that there's no fracturing, there's no division? When people talk about unifying, we've all got to unify. The unifier is UKIP. The unifier is my vision. The unifier has already happened. We're already united. In war, you have to pick a side and get on with it. My message, a year ago, it was stressful. Now it's even more stressful. We're running out of time. In war, you have got to pick a side. I'm asking the Christian community and the patriotic community. I know you've had your heart broken over and over again. Me too. There is a solution. That vehicle is UKIP. The solution is political. I'm asking you to join UKIP, put your name forward to become a candidate. Stop waiting for something to come about that doesn't already exist. Stop waiting for people who are playing games. Pick a side and go all in with it, because it is the only way that we save Britain. So that's my final message. Join UKIP and put your name forward to become a candidate.
Well, for me, your love, drive and passion gets nothing but my admiration, and I wish you all the luck in the world. And if you've enjoyed this conversation with Nick, please do like and subscribe to the channel so we can keep bringing you these conversations that the mainstream won't have. In fact, they'd rather you didn't hear them at all. Nick, I thoroughly enjoyed this. Again, I can see why you are one of the people's favourite, and this was requested. Thank you for sharing your time with me. I know you've got a busy schedule. It's been 30 degrees in here with no aircon. We've pulled through it. I tip my hat to you, sir, and may the future be a bright one.
You're a legend. Cheers,
Cheers, brother.
Cheers, Liam.